So I'm currently back in Delaware visiting family for Thanksgiving week. There's going to be a bit of a change in scenery for a bit, but me being away doesn't mean it's going to stop me from dunking on metaverses that are flailing and failing. Today we're going to talk about Decentraland, which the website advertises as a place where you can create, explore, and trade in the first ever virtual world owned by its users. Yeah, okay, sure. Scrolling further down, they say that you can explore, lose yourself in an amazing, evolving world. You can create, test the limits of your imagination, and of course, trade, the virtual destination for digital assets, buy and sell land. Just the idea of buying and selling land that isn't real, that exists only in a virtual space that you can't really do anything tangible with, except maybe decorate like you can in Final Fantasy XIV. It's just so freaking stupid. Like, if you want a virtual homeowning experience, again, play Final Fantasy XIV. You don't have to spend real money on that, and you can own this nice looking house in a beautiful fantasy realm where you're not going to be risking anything financially. They also advertise how you can buy and sell virtual estates and avatar wearables, so on and so forth. Just a bunch of digital assets and junk that really have no value whatsoever, and yet they expect you to risk financially by treating all this as an investment. These are video games where the financial stakes are very real, which makes these not a form of escapism, but rather just another form of corporate grifting. Now, the reason Decentraland has made some headlines lately is because people have been pointing out the discrepancy between just how abysmally low their daily active users are versus their market cap. Twitter user Shake here pointed out Decentraland has merely 30 daily active users and a $1.2 billion market cap. Now, somebody else did correct this Twitter user by pointing out that, just FYI, DappRadar, which is the website where this data was obtained, tracks the interactions with DCL contracts, not the users online, which is around 500 at the moment. So basically, the number provided was daily active users who engage with the crypto market of this metaverse. Another Twitter user, Sam Reynolds, pointed out something similar. DappRadar measures the number of users that are interacting with the Decentraland smart contracts. I've gotten some pushback from Decentraland PR before about using these figures, but I think they are fair, because at the end of the day, how viable a metaverse is heavily relies on how much money is moving around, how much buying and selling and trading is happening that's keeping this sort of self-contained economy afloat. So looking at numbers in terms of just daily active users who are engaging in the economic elements of this metaverse, like, that's relevant data. But in terms of just pure daily active users, both those who are engaging with the marketplace and those who are just kind of playing Decentraland as a video game where they're not spending any money or trading any NFTs or, fucking virtual land and fake valueless BS. Apparently, we're looking at closer to 500 users, which is still nothing to brag about. The difference between 30 users and 500 users is meaningless when we're talking about an environment that requires tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, to millions of players or users for this whole environment to be viable and to thrive in the way that these corporations want them to. Another entity that sort of broke this whole situation down is website CryptoSlate in a recent post whose headline reads, Decentraland has just 30 daily active users despite billion-dollar market cap, according to DappRadar data. Decentraland data per DappRadar is being questioned based on the low number of daily active users on the platform. Basically, the $1.2 billion valuation for Decentraland doesn't make sense given that barely anyone is partaking in this environment, in this sort of self-contained economy. Despite a $1.2 billion valuation, Decentraland has just 30 daily active users, or so it's claimed. The data was pulled from DappRadar, but is under scrutiny given the low number of DAUs, daily active users. An alternative data source showed a discrepancy in the data, but the amount of DAUs per the alternative data source was still in the hundreds. Again, dozens versus hundreds is no different when you need hundreds of thousands to millions of users for you to be able to tout that your metaverse is succeeding. The finding has reignited several discussion points, including metaverse tokens being a speculative pursuit, the pointlessness of market cap valuations, and the lack of interest in the metaverse. Let me remind you that even corporate giant Meta, a multi-billion-dollar company who's poured dozens of billions of dollars into their own metaverse, Horizon Worlds, is struggling to garner interest. Yes, they're doing much better than Decentraland, closer to sort of the low 200,000 range of active users versus Decentraland's dozens or hundreds. But Meta has been spending dozens of billions of dollars in their metaverse endeavor and have really not much to show for it. They're not making the returns that they need to make off of the billions that they're spending on the metaverse, and the number of users has not been steadily increasing. It's sort of flatlined, if not sort of been on a downwards trend. And if a company like Meta, with all of the manpower, resources, and money in the world, can't make the metaverse work, I don't know what makes Decentraland think it can. The article further continues that buying virtual land requires Ethereum or Mana, and it's purchasable directly from the Decentraland marketplace or OpenSea. DappRadar data counts the number of daily users interacting with smart contracts on the platform. Users may be actively playing in Decentraland yet not triggering smart contract obligations, and those are not counted as daily active users because they're not counted as people who are engaging with all of the crypto trading and the like. Even so, the DAU figure per DappRadar is extremely low. Even if we do count everyone instead of just the people who are engaging with the market, we're still only looking at a measly hundreds of active users. The chart below shows an approximate median baseline of 600 users since July 8th. Users on October 5th came in at just 312. So yeah, this is yet another metaverse that's painting yet another grim picture surrounding its potential for the future. But Decentraland will have you believe otherwise. In this blog post published on their official website titled, "How many daily active users does Decentraland have?" they claim that the way information is presented out there about the daily active users of Decentraland is misleading. It makes it seem like there are less people engaging with Decentraland than what reality indicates according to them. Here's what they had to say. How many DAUs or daily active users does Decentraland have? The difficulty of tracking active users in the metaverse has recently resulted in the spread of misinformation on the topic. If you're already thinking to yourself, oh, this should be good, oh, it gets good. The article continues, the numbers being reported are currently far below the actual amount recorded by the Decentraland Foundation. The issue with counting active users as a number of smart contract transactions is that, as others have pointed out, people don't only come to Decentraland to engage in transactions. There are visits that don't necessarily involve any kind of transaction, and in fact, if a user enters as a guest, may offer no linked wallet data that external parties could track. Decentraland Foundation defines an active user as someone who enters Decentraland and moves out of the initial parcel they entered the world into. Basically, it's a much broader definition than just people who are engaging with the crypto marketplace and the buying and selling and trading of digital assets and land and estates and whatever. Now, here's where things get hilarious, where they think that by correcting the alleged misinformation out there through the data they present, that this somehow paints a much better picture. The current number of DAU in Decentraland is around 8,000 users, according to internal Decentraland Foundation data. Even at 8,000 daily active users, which seems to be the best case scenario currently, that's nothing to flaunt. That is still nowhere enough to make us believe that this is a viable form of this whole metaverse idea that nobody's buying into. But here's the thing, that $8,000 figure is misleading as Decentraland itself presents. The foundation does not count bot accounts or users that use script blockers. The month of September saw 56,697 monthly active users and 6,315 wearables and 1,732 emotes sold. To fully understand the significance of these numbers, it's worthwhile to embark on a little mental arithmetic journey. You might at first divide the 56,697 monthly active users, the number of September's MAU, by 30 and come back with a number of 1,866 daily active users. That's not 8,000 daily active users, as you insinuated, you scoffed to yourself. But wait, 1,866 or 1,866 would be the number of daily active users if every one of those 56,697 unique individuals only visited Decentraland once in the month of September, and that's not what's happening. A large number of Decentraland users are repeat visitors that are the Decentraland community and spend time on the platform on a regular basis. They're acting like this is a haha, got you moment, but what they've just admitted to is that the around 8,000 daily active users figure for Decentraland is also taking into consideration the same users who visit Decentraland multiple times. It's not unique daily active users. The fact that you have to count one unique active user multiple times in your total daily active users count in order to inflate that number and make it look better by counting their repeat visits, I mean, that's nothing to be proud about. You're just admitting to painting a better picture than what the reality actually is. This figure of 1,866 unique daily active users is much more representative of the current state of Decentraland and the amount of engagement that's happening within it compared to that 8,000 figure that is just kind of an inflated number based on your own self-imposed metrics. When you have to partake in such a roundabout way to make your numbers look better than they actually are, that's the sign of a desperate and flailing endeavor. But Decentraland insists that the metaverse may still be a new place, but it certainly is not a lonely one. It's worth keeping in mind that Decentraland is not a company and that it doesn't view users as a product by which to measure success. That makes no sense whatsoever. Who's maintaining Decentraland? Who made it? Who's upkeeping it? A company has to do it, and you have to make money to do that. Decentraland saying they're not a company, I don't know exactly what they mean by that. They are an entity working together to prop up this metaverse of theirs, and they may have to tell themselves that the number of daily active users isn't a measure of success, but the reality is that the only way for a metaverse to succeed is to have a lot of people using it. It's a literal fact that when it comes to metaverses, the number of users, of daily active users, monthly active users, of unique active users is a measure of its success, which is why we're seeing headlines like this from Kotaku. $1.2 billion metaverse company boasts it has a whopping 8,000 daily active users. Decentraland responds to reported claim that it only has 38 active users. And then here's website Futurism through outlet The Byte that made it a point to highlight that even 8,000 users on a given day is dismal for something that's supposed to be the future of online communities. The whole concept and idea of metaverse is built on communities forming, on as many people as possible partaking in this virtual space. So Decentraland saying we don't measure our success by the number of active users, it's a complete contradiction to what the metaverse is. And then from a financial perspective, it's outright embarrassing if only a few dozen transactions are happening per day. The fact that even within this very small populace, only a minuscule percentage of people are engaging in buying and selling and trading goes to highlight just what a dire state this metaverse is in. The Byte continues with, it's a perfect example of the kind of massive disparity between market value and actual users that has been plaguing the Web3 world for years and could also be indicative of a serious slowdown in appetite for virtual real estate and other blockchain-related assets, including cryptocurrencies and NFTs. Music to my ears. Now, for those who want an idea for what this whole Decentraland metaverse looks like, here's a video by YouTube user Obscure Nerd VR. Now, remember when Decentraland said that while the metaverse may still be a new place, it certainly is not a lonely one? The title of this YouTube user's video who played Decentraland, who tried it out, reads, Decentraland is a lonely metaverse. And here's kind of what that looks like.
38 active users, because I've run into like 45 avatars so far, and none of them have talked to me. This is the most lonely metaverse I've ever been to. I'm beginning to believe the reports. At least in Horizon Worlds, children come up and yell problematic things at me. At least there's some interaction. And okay. Hello?
And look at just how unappetizing the visuals are.
An NFT. Even the NPCs just care about making money. What is the point of any of this?
Look at how ugly this game looks.
Who am I going to share them with?
And that's what metaverses are, video games.
King, I've come to your kingdom to ask what's the purpose. Okay, so apparently there's quests in this game. Now I'm just questing alone.
I mean, what is this, RuneScape?
Actually, I've been in this for like 20 minutes and I'm losing my mind. Their website said there were 8,000 active users daily. Apparently not one of them has a microphone. Oh, Lord. We're back to here. Hey, everybody.
Jesus Christ.
Everybody could make it. I feel like I'm leading, like, the world's worst army right here.
The future of online communities, ladies and gentlemen.
I see Rick hasn't moved.
Obviously, this is where I want to spend the rest of my life. In this virtual space right here. One last cherry on top, it's worth noting that Decentraland's market cap has significantly diminished since reports began to crop up about the dire state of this metaverse. It went from roughly 1.2 billion to, looking at website coinmarketcap.com, all the way down to $686 million. Looking at Decentraland's performance this past year, you can see that the market cap peaked at around late November of 2021 before we saw this big plummet that has then transitioned into a pretty steady but substantial decline that has led to significant losses which goes in line with the currently plummeting trend of cryptocurrencies, of NFTs, of metaverses, and all of this junk. So yeah, good luck, Decentraland, trying to convince people that there's a bright future ahead. So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a look at yet another embarrassingly performing metaverse, which has been sort of the common trend surrounding this endeavor that so many corporations seem to be jumping on as a hype bandwagon that's ultimately leading to nowhere. Nowhere that's compelling or useful or beneficial to users and customers and frickin' society, really, as far as we can currently see. Or at the very least, that's one man's take. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on all of this information surrounding Decentraland and just the current state of metaverses as a whole. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.